Hi Guardians, welcome back to the channel and another Destiny 2 build. I'd like to apologise at the start as I am full of cold and my voice is less than ideal today, but hey ho, let's crack on anyway. So the question of the day, what is better than a Warlock with Threadlings? So the answer to the question is, how about a Warlock with infinite unravelling Threadlings? Because that's what we're going to be building today. But before we get into the build, I'd just like to say thank you for all of the views and all of the positive feedback that I've been receiving on these Destiny builds. It's greatly appreciated. However, if I could be very cheeky and ask if you are enjoying the build videos that we're putting out, if you'd be kind enough to drop a subscribe, you would really be helping the channel grow. But with that said, let's move on and get right to it. So we're going to begin our build by looking at our exotic armour. And in this case, we're going to be using the Swarmer's exotic legs. The exotic perk on the Swarmers means that destroying a tangle will spawn a Threadling, and more importantly, our Threadlings will unravel any targets that they damage. Let's look to the subclass where we're going to take whichever rift you prefer. Personally, I'm going with the healing rift, as I'm intending to be using this build in higher level content, but the empowering rift is a great option too. We're going to take a Threadling grenade, quite obviously, as we're intending to have an absolute army of these things. Looking to the aspects, Weaver's Call, where casting our rift will weave 3 Threadlings and deploy any Threadlings we have perched. Bit of a no-brainer. And then I've been messing around with this build for a little while, and I've landed on the Wanderer being the best option for our second aspect. And the Wanderer means that tangles we throw will attach to targets and then detonate into a suspending burst. If we destroy a tangle, it will create that suspending burst after a short delay, and Threadling final blows create a tangle. Your other option here is the Mindspun Invocation, where you can consume your grenade to generate 5 perched Threadlings. However, the utility of having the suspend just feels better to me. Moving to our fragments, we're going to begin with Thread of Evolution, which is a bit of a no-brainer as it makes Threadlings travel further and deal approximately 30% more damage. We're going to take Thread of Rebirth, so our Strand weapon final blows have a chance to create additional Threadlings. For survivability, we're going to take Thread of Warding, where picking up an orb will grant Woven Mail. And the final one, Thread of Transmutation, so while we have Woven Mail, weapon final blows will create tangles, and this ties in nicely with the Wanderer aspect. When selecting your armour, it should come as no surprise that our first priority is Resilience. Always aim for 100 resilience for that lovely 30% damage reduction from all sources. Second priority, Discipline, as we want to have that Threadling grenade available as much as possible. Third priority, Recovery, which governs the Warlock's class ability cooldown. This is so that we can be throwing our rifts down and generating yet more Threadlings. And then fourth priority would be Strength, so we have our Arcane Needle powered melee up as much as possible. Intellect and Mobility are afterthoughts. Try to keep the intellect above 30 so that you don't suffer the cooldown penalties associated with going lower. Moving on to our seasonal artifacts, we will take our choice of champion mods, and then we want the Flame, Fibre and Freeze artifact perk, which will grant us access to the Solar and Strand combined Siphon mod. Flint Striker, so rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows will grant us Radiant. Unraveling Orbs, so an Orb of Power will give our Strand weapons unraveling rounds. Horde Shuttle, so damage on unraveling rounds will spawn a Threadling. Kindling Trigger, so being Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorched to unscorched targets. Torch, so while we're Radiant we'll deal increased weapon damage to anything affected by a Strand debuff. Rays of Precision, so while we're Radiant, solar precision final blows will cause combatants to ignite. Wished into being, so when our supers are almost fully charged, we'll gain additional orbs of power from ability final blows. And Dragon's Bite, where breaking a combatant's shield with a strand or stasis weapon has a chance to suspend or freeze that combatant. Moving on to our mod setup. On the helmet, we're going to begin with the Solar Strand Dual Siphon, so rapid kills with either a solar or strand weapon will each create an orb of power. Ashes to Assets, where we'll gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. And a heavy ammo finder, because we like heavy ammo. On our arms, we're going to take a fastball mod so that we can throw our Threadling grenades further. We're going to take bolstering detonation so we gain class ability energy whenever we cause damage with a grenade. And firepower, so our grenade final blows will create orbs of power. For our chest, take whichever damage resistance mods are applicable for the activity you're undertaking. On our legs, we're going to take Innovation, which reduces our grenade cooldown whenever we pick up an orb of power. Recuperation, to replenish a chunk of health each time we pick up an orb of power. And a Strand Weapon Surge, so our strand weapons gain a damage boost whenever we have an armour charge. And then finally, on our legs, we're going to take a Bomber, which further reduces our grenade cooldown when we use our class ability. Powerful Attraction, to automatically collect orbs whenever we use our class ability. And a Reaper, which generates an orb of power if we get a weapon kill within 10 seconds of using our class ability. When selecting weapons, it's very much whatever you prefer within slight confines. So on our kinetic, we want something that is strand. Doesn't really matter what. If the weapon has hatchling, that is a bonus. Quicksilver Storm is quite strong in this build. Looking to our energy weapon, anything that allows us to get precision hits, so no fusion rifles, unfortunately, as we want to be able to proc Radiance. If you have it, the Tyranny of Heaven from the Last Wish raid is an absolute beast and shouldn't be overlooked. If you haven't got this, I would very strongly recommend you farm for it, as Dragonfly Incandescent is a monster. And then for our heavy, again we want something strand. Ideally with hatchling, but anything strand will do. So our gameplay loop is quite simple. We begin by throwing our Threadling grenade, which will apply unravel to anything that it hits. Follow this up with shots from your strand weapons. Throw a rift down to throw out more Threadlings and boost our grenade recharge rate. Pick up any orbs that we see and throw any tangles that we've generated. And just keep repeating. When an enemy has unravelling applied to it, switch to your energy weapon to gain a 5% damage boost thanks to the Torch Seasonal Artifact perk. When you get this loop going well, you're going to see nothing but green flying all over the screen. Small lads that are hiding have no chance from your Threadlings and they'll just be destroyed. So there we have it, you are now the commander of a Threadling army. If you've enjoyed this build and would like to see more, please be kind and drop me a like and subscribe. But until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day.